we are going to conduct the experiment on finding out the moment of inertia of a flywheel. That is how you can find the moment of inertia of the given flywheel. Before going into the details of the experiment, we need to know what is moment of inertia and its importance. Initially, moment of inertia is defined as the sum of the products of the mass and the square of the radius from the point of axis of rotation. That is, it is clear that the product of mass and the square of the radius about the point of axis of rotation is defined as the moment of inertia. Now, the importance of moment of inertia is the same, that the importance of moment of inertia in dynamics of rotation is of the same importance as the mass in rectilinear mechanics. As in the rectilinear mechanics, the kinetic energy of a body having a mass m is equal to half mv square. So, also the moment of inertia plays a important role in rotational dynamics or dynamics of rotation. Now, in order to get more explanation about what is actually the moment of inertia, we take a section of the body perpendicular to the plane of the board or perpendicular to the axis of rotation. Now, in this figure, O is the axis of rotation and omega is its angular velocity. Now, we think that, or we take that the body is constituted of several mass particles as m1, m2, m3 at distances r1, r2, r3 etc. from the axis of rotation, that is O. Here in this, the particles m1, m2, m3 are having different velocities because by virtue of their distances from the axis of rotation, but whereas omega is the same. Now, if we consider the kinetic energy of the body will be the sum of the kinetic energies of the various particles and is given by kinetic energy as equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square plus half m3 v3 square etc. Here we have taken only 3 particles into consideration. We can take several particles like that. That is equal to half m1 r1 square omega square plus half m2 r2 square omega square plus half m3 r3 square omega square, because v is equal to r into omega, where v is the linear velocities of these particles at distances r1, r2, r3 of masses m1, m2, m3 respectively, and omega is the angular velocity as shown in the figure, that remains constant, and r in this is the radius of the axle if you take that axis as rotation, or in the case of the flywheel. Further, this equation is equal to half omega square sigma mr square. I have written sigma mr square in place of m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square etc. So, sigma mr square meaning that m starting from 1 to n and r starting from 1 to n, that is further equal to half I capital omega square, where I is equal to sigma mr square. Now, in this term sigma mr square, I is known as the moment of inertia of the body, and it is about the axis of rotation about which we are taking, that will be the moment of inertia. The axis of rotation if it differs, then the moment of inertia also will differ. So, if you fix one axis of rotation, the moment of inertia is that. So, in this, from the definition as already I have given you, as we have already taken, that it is the sum of the products of the mass and the squares of the distances from the point of, or from the axis of rotation, or from the point of axis of rotation. Now, when the flywheel is stationary at a height h, which we are going to do by experiment, when it is at a height h, then it possesses potential energy equal to mgh, mass suspended, height h, and g the acceleration due to gravity. You can take the acceleration due to gravity either in CGS or MKS units. Now, once the flywheel or when the weight descends, the potential energy is lost and it is being converted into different forms of energy or kinetic energy, and some of the energy is being lost in due to friction. Now, if we consider the conversion of potential energy into three different forms, the potential energy lost by the falling body is mgh, because by virtue of its height it is mgh, where g is acceleration due to gravity. This energy is utilized in the following three ways. 1. The gain in the kinetic energy of the falling mass. This is equal to half mv square. As the weight descends from the axle, the weight which you have put on the axle with at a height, as it descends, the gain in kinetic energy will be there. So, gain in the kinetic energy of the falling mass, this is equal to half mv square, where v is the velocity of the mass just before touching the ground. That is one form of energy, that is the potential energy is being converted to one. Another form is gain in the kinetic energy of the wheel. This is equal to half I omega square, where I is the moment of inertia of the flywheel about axis of rotation. So, here already we have seen from the definition. So, gain in the kinetic energy. So, another form, that is the second form of energy, potential energy, it is not due to the conservation of energy, it is not lost, it is being converted into these forms of energy. The second one as I just now read. Third one, work done against friction. There is a frictional force in the wheel. So, that is equal to N into F, where F is work done against friction in the revolutions and n number of revolutions before the mass m falls of the axle. That is F denoting the work done against friction for one revolution, and n is the number of revolutions made by the wheel before it touches the ground. That is, so in all total the mgh, the initial potential energy by virtue of its height, which was mgh, is equal to half mv square plus half I omega square plus nf. The individual terms speaking as above. N2, in this, N2 is equal to number of revolutions of the wheel after the weight has touched the floor. That is, in the actual experiment, after the fall of the weight, that is the potential energy being converted into this, the half I omega square will be dissipated in revolving the flywheel to make N2 revolutions, and the kinetic energy, this we are seeing here, the kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square is dissipated in making N2 revolutions. So, subsequent to which now we can go into find out the moment of inertia by actually taking the observations, taking the height of the weight attached to the axle of the flywheel and taking the readings and calculating the result by the formula. So, from these observations we can deduce the equation for the experimental use, that is the moment of inertia, that we will see it. The experiment, that is the derivation part, we are not going in, but we will write the final equation for the moment of inertia, and after taking the observations we will substitute the values experimentally found and find out the moment of inertia. The experiment which you are going to conduct is to find out the moment of inertia of the given flywheel. This is the flywheel for which we want to find out its moment of inertia. This flywheel is rotating about this axis of rotation of this wheel is about this. Now, in order to find out the moment of inertia, we need to take some observations. Now, before which I wish to tell you what is the apparatus being used. The flywheel, for which you want to find out the moment of inertia, a hanging mass, a scale, a meter scale, and a stopwatch. Stopwatch is to find out the time taken for a given number of rotations which the wheel makes. Now, we will start the experiment. I am taking this weight and fixing it in the hole of the axle. Now, first of all, I have to adjust the height which is being hanged from the floor ground to the bottom to certain height. So, I have already done that by making the peg insert in the axle and given some number of rotations. Say here it is 6. Now, we are going to measure the height from the floor up to the bottom of the weight. It is about 56 centimeters. This height we have to note down, that is height, h. Now, by virtue of its height, this has got certain potential energy, that is equal to mgh. Now, you must be holding the axle like this. Now, the moment I leave the axle, the body will pull down the axle, due to which this flywheel will rotate. Now, I am going to leave the axle and find the number of revolutions which the flywheel makes before touching the ground. I count, I am leaving the axle and counting the number of revolutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 revolutions. After the body has left the axle, still it is rotating due to some kinetic energy gained due to the loss of the potential energy by this wheel. So, you should again count the number of revolutions after when the body touches the ground before it comes to rest. So, in order to do that, we will do it in installments. First is the number of revolutions made when the weight touches the ground, that is N1. Now, again we are going to adjust to the same height as before. We adjusted height to the same height as before. Now, we are not going to count the number of revolutions made by the body when it touches the ground, but count the number of revolutions after when the mass has touched the ground. That we are going to do it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, N2 we have recorded as 124 revolutions, and the time taken for it is 2 minutes 55 seconds. We will convert it into seconds, that is 120 plus 55, 155 seconds. One thing, we have to take the number of revolutions N2 at the time when the weight touches the ground, then the stopwatch is started, and from then on the number of revolutions made by the wheel is counted till it comes to rest. We should not make the wheel stop. By itself it should come to rest. It may be going back, but do not count it. Till it comes to rest, till then we have to count the number of revolutions. So, in this case we have found that the number of revolutions after when the weight has left the axle or touching the ground, it has made 124 revolutions and the time for which is 2 minutes 55 seconds. For the same height and with the same weight, the experiment is repeated. Then we know the number of tons N2, we know the N1 and the weight which we have hung to the axle. By knowing all these, we can find out the moment of inertia by using the appropriate formula. Here, while rotating, the flywheel has got some angular velocity. Its angular velocity is given by 4 pi n2 by t, where n2 is the number of revolutions made after when the weight has just left the axle, and t is the time taken for n2 revolutions. Formula, we will see the formula and we will substitute in the formula and get the result for the moment of inertia. The same is being repeated for two different heights. Again we are going to adjust the height for a 10 centimeters less in length from the ground or height, or 10 centimeters more. That is, we will see that the height is more than the previous height. The previous height was about 55. We will take the observation again N1 as well as N2 either at 45 or at 65, and calculate and find out the number of revolutions N1 and N2 and find out the moment of inertia. The aggregate of these values will give the moment of inertia of the given flywheel about given axis. We can also physically verify if we know the mass of this flywheel and finding out its radius of the flywheel. We can also find out the moment of inertia, and that is physical verification can be done. What the experimental value we got can be verified physically if you just know the mass of this flywheel and the radius of the flywheel. When you are calculating the moment of inertia according to the formula, we need the radius of this axle, and we have to measure the radius of this axle by a vernier calipers. Now here it is about 2.2 centimeters. The diameter of the axle is 2.2, hence we can find out the radius. At the same time, for the physical verification, we need the radius of the flywheel. So I am taking a thread and winding it round the circumference of the wheel. So wind a thread round the flywheel and find out its length, stretch it on a scale and find its circumference. It is about 62 centimeters. So once we know the circumference, the formula for the circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r. The equation which we are going to use to find out the moment of inertia of the flywheel by the experiment is given here as I equal to N2 divided by N1 plus N2 into m within brackets 2 GH by omega square minus r square. N1 is the number of revolutions which the flywheel makes when the mass touches the ground or the peg when it comes out from the axle. N2 is the number of rotations which the wheel makes after when the mass has touched the ground and before coming to rest. That is, in other words, number of revolutions made by the flywheel after when the mass has touched the ground. M is the mass suspended to the flywheel. G is the acceleration due to gravity. H is the height for which we have adjusted the mass to the flywheel, or we have kept at certain height the mass suspended to the flywheel. Omega is the angular velocity which can be found by 4 pi n2 by t, that is t is the time taken for n2 revolutions, and small r is the radius of the axle about which the flywheel is rotating. Now, after taking the observations are tabulated in the tabular form like this. Serial number 1, height, we have taken the height for 56 centimeters and found the number of revolutions n1 as 6, number of revolutions n2 as 124 first trial, and the second trial 124, that is the mean 124, and the time taken for n2 revolutions is 176 first time and 176 second time, and the mean 176. When you going to calculate the angular velocity, it works out to be 8.86 with this data n2 and t. And finally, moment of inertia, when you calculate after substituting these values in the equation, will be the result is 2,38,147 gram centimeter square. Similarly, when the experiment is conducted with a different height, the height we have taken 40, n1 4, and the number of revolutions n2 107, second time also the same, and the mean value 107, and the time taken for this n2 revolutions, that is 107 being 150 seconds. First you will get in minutes and seconds, that you will convert into seconds, and the omega calculated with the value of n2 and t being 8.95. When this data is being substituted in the formula for the moment of inertia, we get the result as 1,99,702 grams centimeter square. If you take the aggregate or average of these two moment of inertia values, it is the experimental value. This is experimental value I being 2,18,924 grams centimeter square. We can verify it theoretically, the theoretical formula without doing the experiment also. If once you know the mass of the flywheel and the radius of the flywheel, which we have already determined, radius of the flywheel being 9.85, by finding out the circumference we have already found the radius. So, with that formula, that is theoretical formula is I, the moment of inertia of the flywheel, being equal to m r square by 2, where m is the mass of the flywheel and r is the radius of the flywheel. So, after substituting the values, the mass in this case of this flywheel being 4.25 kg, that is in grams 4,250 grams, into the radius of the flywheel being 9.85 square divided by 2. This works out to be 2,06,173 gram centimeter square. So, it is almost this is in lakhs, the result experimental value is in lakhs, this is also in lakhs, because being in CGS. Suppose you take in MKS system, it will be 0.02 in this case and 0.02, then in that case we will not be able to distinguish the difference in the results, the experimental and the theoretical value. But here the result is after all not even about 5% error in the experimental and theoretical value. So, the final result being theoretical value agreeing very much with the experimental value, we can repeat the experiment, but the different mass as well as the different heights, and whatever may be the height and whatever may be the mass suspended, the given flywheel, its moment of inertia will be constant. While doing this experiment, two major precautions we have to take into consideration. That is, number 1, the mass which you are going to use for suspending it during the part of the experiment should be used, a smaller weight should be used, the mass should not be heavier one. One more important precaution is that the stopwatch should be immediately started the moment the mass is detached from the axle. or when the mass touches the ground, immediately the stopwatch should be started, and then on the number of revolutions N2 is found. So, with this experiment we have known the implications of the experiment and what is the usage and what is the importance of the moment of inertia we have learnt to some extent.